Welcome to the first lesson in our beginner's course for Aprendamos Español. In this lesson, we are going to talk about the alphabet and pronunciation. We're going to go over how to pronounce the letters of the alphabet in Spanish. We're going to talk about the vowels, the special letters that you see in Spanish that you don't see in English, the accent marks, and then we're going to pronounce a few words for practice in the end. So let's begin. The key to being able to pronounce your Spanish words like a native speaker is being able to actually pronounce the letters themselves because they're the building blocks of the words. And that's pretty obvious. You'll notice in each of these columns that I've written down each of the letters of the Spanish alphabet. And in the columns right next to them, I put how do you pronounce each letter in Spanish. One of the first things you'll probably notice is that Spanish has a few letters that English does not have, such as the eye, the ñ, and the r. But don't worry, we're going to talk about each of these in detail later on in this lesson. So to begin, we're actually going to pronounce the letters themselves as they sound in Spanish. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, E, M, N, Ñ, O, P, Q, R, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Okay, we're going to go through one more time slowly just for practice. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, E, M, N, Ñ, O, P, Q, R, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Okay, and it would help in order to master this pronunciation is practice sounding out the Spanish alphabet to yourself maybe 3 to 5 times a day. And within a week or two, you'll be comfortable pronouncing the letters in the Spanish alphabet. Now, one thing to note, as we talked about before, are the letters in the Spanish alphabet that don't appear in the English alphabet, such as the ñ, the ñ, and the r. Okay, so the ñ basically makes the Y sound. Now, in some countries, it'll make the j sound, but if you just use the Y sound whenever you see a double L, in general, most Spanish speakers will understand what you're trying to say. For example, in the phrase me llamo, okay, the double L is making the Y sound, or you could say me llamo, doesn't matter. Whenever you see a double L in the Spanish language, for the most part, it's making the Y sound. Now, the ñ is a little different. The ñ is basically as if in English you were to take an N and then put a Y after it. It makes a ñ sound. Like in the word piñata, that has an ñ in it, and it's like if you were to write P-I-N-Y-A-T-A. It's basically an N and a Y combined with each other. Ña. It's kind of what the sound it makes. Piñata. All right? Now, let's get to the R. Now, one thing I've noticed is that a lot of students taking Spanish have trouble rolling their R's or pronouncing the R. And the best advice that I can give you how to roll your R is to first act like you're about to say the letter D. D. Okay? But stop when your tongue is touching the roof of your mouth. So keep your tongue pressed up against the roof of your mouth. Once your tongue is pressed up against the roof of your mouth, try to blow air over the top middle part of your tongue. And keep trying to press your tongue against the roof of your mouth while you're blowing this air. What's going to end up happening is that your tongue is going to slap up and down against the roof of your mouth. It's going to go like this. That is basically the R sound. It's almost sounding like a cat purring. And that is basically how you roll your R's. Once you practice that and get comfortable with that, you should be able to make the R sound with no issues whatsoever. If you look at the V, it's called ve, but when you get onto the W, it's called doble ve. That's because in Spanish, they recognize that the W is basically two V's combined together. If you kind of look at what the letter looks like, that's why in Spanish, the W is literally called double V, okay? And that's something that's interesting to note. Please note that your X is called X, not equis, alright? So be very careful how you say the X in Spanish. Now your Y is called Y. If you notice this E right here is the same pronunciation as this E over here, and there's a reason for that. That's because literally in Spanish, the Y is called the Greek I, okay? They're acknowledging that that letter is a borrow from the Greek language. So those are some things to be very careful of. Notice, the eye makes the Y sound, the enye makes the N plus Y sound, and the R is like you're saying the letter D, but you stop halfway and then blow air over the top of your tongue into that gap between your tongue and the roof of your mouth. So those are a few things to note about the letters in Spanish that appear that you don't see in English. So let us move on to the vowels. So you know how in English your vowels are A, E, I, O, U, and that determines how you pronounce anything in English? Well, in Spanish, you have to get used to the new sounds of your vowels. It's not A, E, I, O, U. It is A, E, I, O, U. Okay? A, E, I, O, U. Alright? And you want to practice that. A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. Even if it makes you sound silly or makes you sound like those fish that were initiating Nemo in the fish tank in the first Finding Nemo film, even if it makes you sound silly, if you learn the language, then that's all that really matters. So whatever makes you sound silly doesn't matter. You must ask yourself, what makes you learn? So, A, E, I, O, U, right? O is literally the only letter in the Spanish vowels that sounds just like its English counterpart. That's it. The rest of them are different. A, E, I, O, U. Now, in general, in most Spanish words, you pronounce all of the vowels in the word. Typically in Spanish, there's no such thing as like a silent E at the end of the word. You literally say every vowel in a Spanish word, except for, these exceptions down here, but we'll get to that in a minute. So let me give you some examples where you would say every vowel. Take this word right here. How would you pronounce that word in Spanish? Well, the I makes the E sound, and the E makes the sound, so you put it together. Pie. Pie. Okay? That's how you pronounce that word. It's not pie, it's pie. Okay? Which means foot in Spanish. How about this word? Alright? P-O-N-E. Okay? This, you would sound out all of the vowels. There's no silent E's at the end of Spanish words. So, how do you say the O? How do you say the E? So, pone. Okay? Pone, which means he puts or he places. Like you're saying, like he puts something down. You'd say el pone. Alright? How about this word right here? It's not pewed. It's not pooed. Okay, the U makes the oo sound and the E makes the sound. So, pude, okay? Pude. This comes from the verb poder, which means to be able to, and this is how you say I was able to do something. It's in the past tense, but we'll talk about that later. But it's pude, not pewed, okay, or pooed. Pude. No silent E's at the end of the word. And I'll give you an example of this. This is a word that most non-Spanish speakers already know in the Spanish language. Bien, okay? It's not bine or bane, it's bien, okay? You pronounce both vowels. You pronounce both of the vowels in your word in general in most words in Spanish. Now, there are a few exceptions to this rule. And these are the exceptions. If you have an A and an I next to each other, an E and an I, a U and an E, or if you have a G followed by a UE, or a G followed by UI, or a Q, U, E sound, or a Q, U, E sound. I'm saying the letters in Spanish for good practice. Now, in general, when you have an A and an I next to each other, they are going to make the I sound. Like if you were saying, aye, Captain, the A and the I next to each other make the I sound, like in this word right here. Okay? This word right here is pronounced habláis, okay? Habláis, okay? Ice, alright? So when you see an A and an I, think I, like aye, Captain, okay? You see an A next to an I, it's I. Now, when you see an E next to an I, that is going to make the A noise, like A, like, you know, those like stereotypical New York people, A, you know, it's a joke, but you get the idea. And E and an I next to each other make the A sound. For example, in this word, okay, and the word coméis, see how the E and the I are next to each other? That is going to make the A sound. Not the I sound, the A sound. Coméis, okay? Now let's move on. When you have a U and an E next to each other, they typically, if it's just a U and an E and it's not, there's no G in front of it, if it's just a U and an E, typically those two vowels combine to make the way sound. For example, look at this word right here. Okay, got a misspell there. Please excuse that, okay? Look at this word here. Pardon me. Forgot my E. There we go. Fuego. Alright, I'm sure that if you've looked at a Spanish dictionary before, you'll know that fuego is the word for fire, okay? So you see how you're making the way sound in there when you have a U and an E next to each other? So, fuego. Or another example that you're more likely to be familiar with, okay? This is how you say good in Spanish. Bueno. It's like saying be, then way, bue, then no. Bueno. Bueno. Bueno, fuego. When you have that U and E next to each other, it makes the way sound. Now let's move on. When you have a G-U-E, typically this is going to make a ge sound. Ge. Okay? Let me give you an example of that. The Spanish word for war is guerra. Okay? Practice your rolled R. Guerra. Okay? See how the G-U-E together makes the ge sound, okay? So when you have a U and an E and there's no G in front, it's making the way sound. But when you put a G there, it's making the ge sound. So do not say guerra, okay? It's guerra, alright? G-U-E makes the ge sound. Now G-U-I sounds a little different. G-U-I makes the it makes the G sound. There's no J in it whatsoever. It makes a G sound. Like, look at this word right here. This word means next, okay? Okay? See the U-I syllable right here? Siguiente. This is all one word. Siguiente, okay? When you have a G-U-I, it makes the G sound. Siguiente. Alright? Siguiente. Alright? Now, let's move on. We have a Q-U-E, obviously, because you know, like when you're saying what's up to someone, que pasa, or, you know, que tal, or such. When you have a Q-U-E next to each other, it makes the K sound. And there are even words that will demonstrate this for you. Take the word for cheese in Spanish, queso. Notice the Q-U-E is making the K sound. Queso. Or another example, this word means over there, like, you know, that TV remote over there. Aquel. All right, see the Q-U-E? Aquel. Queso. Aquel. All right. So when you have the Q-U-E, it makes a K noise, like queso, aquel. All right, same syllable. Finally, we get to the Q-U-I, not the G-U-I, like over here, which makes the G noise. Q-U-I makes the key noise, okay? This sounds like this, like key, okay? Let me give you an example word. The word for here, as in like right here, like your location, is aquí, okay? The Q-U-I making the key sound. Or the word for 15 in Spanish is quince, okay? Quince. It's like saying key, then in, then say. Quince. Aquí. So it's a good idea to just practice all of these exceptions because these are times where you combine different vowels together to get one sound. In English, that is known as a diphthong. In Spanish, we call it a diptongo, okay? So it's a good idea to get practice. It's habláis, not habléis. It's coméis, not coméis, all right? It is bueno, fuego, guerra, siguiente, queso, aquel, aquí, and quince, okay? So it's very important to make sure that you practice those exceptions, but that in all other cases, you say all of the vowels in the word. And remember, Spanish does not have an E as a silent letter at the end of the word. This is pone, not pone, okay? We're not talking about beating someone very bad in a first-person shooter game. All right, so let's move on to your special letters. These are letters that behave far differently in Spanish than they do in English. Now let's start with the H or the H in Spanish. This is always silent, okay? And it's very important to understand that whenever you see an H or an H in a Spanish word, you never say it. I have students all the time telling me, hola, you know, to say hello. It's hola, all right? Your H, even if it's at the beginning of the word, is silent. So please resist the temptation to look at a Spanish word that has an H in it and pronounce the H. It is hola, not hola. And I'm going to help you not sound like an ignorant tourist when you go to a Latin American country. When you see this last name right here, and I know that you've seen this last name or you've met someone that has this last name, please know that even in the last names of people, the H in Spanish is always, always, always going to be silent. So you might as well just act like it's not even there and just pronounce the rest of the word, okay? This E makes the S sound. Hernandez, okay? This name is pronounced Hernandez. 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 It is not pronounced Hernandez or Hernandez, okay? It is Hernandez. Okay, that is how you say Hernandez, not Hernandez. You never pronounce the H in the beginning of a Spanish word. Now let's move on. The J, otherwise known as jota in Spanish, makes the H sound, okay? So if you're like, oh no, it's not fair, how come I can't say the H up here? It doesn't matter because the J makes the H sound. For example, look at this word right here. This is the verb which means to work, like, you know, I'm going to work. It's, okay? This is pronounced trabajar, okay? Your A's are all pronounced I. It's not trabajar. All right. So when you see a J in a Spanish word, think H. Okay. Your J makes the H sound in Spanish. Okay. Trabajar. 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 So it helps if you start by saying the Spanish word slowly and then pick up the pace until you get fully comfortable saying it until this stuff becomes second nature to you. Like I said before, the double L, also known as the eye, is going to make the Y sound. Okay? It's going to make a Y sound, or sometimes the J sound, depending on what country you're in or what dialect of Spanish you're speaking. Let me give you an example of this. The word to wear or to carry is this word right here. Okay? Your double L makes the Y sound, so it'd be llevar. Okay? Llevar. Right? Because your A is saying A, so you put it next to an R, ar. Your E is making the E sound, put it next to a V, ev, llevar. Okay? Just put it all together. Llevar. Alright? Which means to wear or to carry. So remember, your double L makes the Y sound. Now, if you hear someone saying llevar, don't be confused. Whenever someone in Spanish makes the je sound, they're just saying the aya a different way. I even do it. In my advanced lessons, I'm going to be talking like that. Now, the Spanish word for key is this. Alright? This one will be good practice because, like I said before, you'll notice there is no silent E in the end of a Spanish word. You must say those vowels. So how does the A sound? A, ve. So go ahead and put it all together. Put the Y sound there. Llave. Llave. Okay? That is how you say key in Spanish. Not key as in, this is a key area of study. Key as in, I pick up the key and unlock the door. So it's like talking about the physical object. Right? Now let's also talk about the ñ, okay? Like I said, the ñ is the NY sound, okay? So, for example, it's like if you were to put an N next to a Y. So let's go back to the example we talked about before. Piñata, okay? If you notice, the NY, the sound comes out of the ñ. So if you really put it in perspective, this would be like if you were to say this. Now granted, this is not how you spell the word, this is just how you pronounce it. See? Piñata, piñata. See how the ñ makes the same sound as if you were to take a Y and slap it at the end of the N? Piñata, okay, and you all know what that is. It's basically the stuffed animal that's stuffed with candy and it's made of paper mache. And kids typically beat it open and eat the candy for their birthday. How about this word right here? This is how you say autumn in Spanish. The season. Okay? Otoño. Otoño. Okay? So be very careful that you know that when you see the tilde, which is that little accent mark over the N, that's as if you were to have a Y coming right after that N. Piñata. Piñata. Piñata, otoño, otoño. Okay, and because we actually have N's coming after Y's in English words, like in the word bony, okay, that this should be easy for you to pick up. Now let's talk about your nemesis again, the R. Like I said before, this is as if you were pressing, it's like a repetitive forced D sound, okay? Remember, you're putting the tongue against the roof of your mouth as if you're making the D sound, but then you blow air over it and you get a repetitive flapping of the tongue. Okay, just practice that and you'll be able to get it. So that's basically what the R sounds like in this world famous food item, okay? We're going to make sure you know how to pronounce this, okay? It is burrito, burrito. Okay, so please stop going to Taco Bell and Plaza Azteca or whatever they call the Mexican place where you live and saying, can I have a burrito? It is not a burrito. It's a burrito. Burrito. Can I have a burrito? Okay, and when you pronounce that word correctly, you'll be surprised how many smiles you might get from people who are native speakers of the language who are no longer annoyed that you're saying your words like a tourist who just doesn't care. It is burrito, not burrito. Anytime you see the two R's next to each other, think rrr, okay? So now we get to the Y. This is interesting because when you see this letter by itself used as a word, it just is pronounced E, okay? When you see the Y by itself, it's used as a word, and it's used to mean and, okay? When you see the Y by itself sandwiched in between two words, it's a conjunction, and it means and you would say it E. Okay, let me give you an example of that. Take this statement right here. Here I have three words. Remember, your J makes the H sound. Gente y lugares. So remember, when you see the Y by itself, although amongst the alphabet it's called Y, when you see the Y by itself, it's being used as a letter. And that letter means, it's being used as a word, and that word means and, okay? So E by itself, or Y by itself means and. So this would be gente y lugares. You would not say gente y lugares. You would just say gente y lugares, which literally means people and places, okay? And now we get to the double C. Okay, I didn't show you this on the alphabet because it's not there, but this does behave differently than in English, so it's worth noting. When you see two C's next to each other in Spanish, typically what you are going to do is pronounce the first C hard, like a K, okay? And then the second C, you're going to say soft like an S. Okay, first C, hard like a K. Second C is soft like an S. Let me give you an example of that. If you were to see this Spanish word right here, this is how you say translation in Spanish. Okay? How do you say this word? Well, let's get started. Tra, du, because remember your U makes an U sound. Tradu, first C is soft, is hard. Traducción, traducción. Okay? Practice that until you get comfortable. When you see two C's together, think first C hard, second C soft. An easy way to remember that, in case you get it mixed up, is think. In life, you want to get the hard stuff out of the way first before you get to the soft and easy stuff. Traducción. Another easy way to remember it is that in the alphabet, K comes before S. So when you see these together, you're going to make your K sound first, then your S sound. Traducción. Alright? So that is how you pronounce that. So this is a general overview of Spanish letters that behave way differently than their English counterparts. Now, finally, we're going to talk about those interesting, oh so interesting accent marks. Now, when you see this first accent mark right here, you're typically going to see this over vowels. This means to say that letter harder, okay? You're going to say that letter harder with more authority. Take this word, for example. This is the Spanish word for more, okay? It is not just mas, it's mas, okay? See how the accent mark makes that letter said harder? You gotta say it with a little more authority, with a little more gusto. You gotta say it with a little more enthusiasm. Now, you may say, well, does it matter if I leave an accent off a letter, or if I, put the accent there? Does it really matter? Actually, yes, it does, okay? Whether or not you put the accent mark over a letter can totally change the meaning of the word. Now, let me give you an example, okay? Notice how both of these are spelled the exact same way. The only difference is that over here, for está, you have an accent mark over the A. So this is esta, está, esta, está. Now, it's very important that you know that these are not the same word. If you were to look these words up in the Spanish dictionary, you get two totally different answers that have nothing to do with each other. Esta is how you say like this. Like I'm holding this pen. You would say tengo esta pluma. Now, está, with the accent mark over it, that's how you say he is or she is. Like if you were to say he is angry right now, you would say él está enojado ahora, right? So be very careful to know that this means this, and this means he or she is, okay? So whether or not you put the accent mark here can completely change the definition of the word you're using. So be very careful with your accent marks in Spanish. One more example about that is these two words right here. It's supposed to be an O. All right. When you have the accent mark over here, this means como. Okay, that's how you say it. Right here, it's como. Notice how you're saying the two O's equally as hard, como. But over here, como. You're saying the first O harder. Como with an accent mark means it's the question you're asking how. Whereas como without an accent mark means like or as. It does not mean like, I like you as a person. It means like as in this is just like that. It's a comparison being made. Or it can mean as. So the accent mark, like I said, can totally change the definition of your word. So be very careful when you put your accent marks up there where they are supposed to go. Now let's talk about this accent mark. This is called a tilde, okay? But the main thing you need to know is that it mainly goes over the N, and it's used to make the nye, which is the N plus Y sound, okay? And like I said, that is extremely important. For example, like I said before, this is piñata, not panada, okay? It's piña colada, not pina colada, all right? So be very careful. It's piña, not pina, all right, or pina. So finally, we come to the diaeresis, or I was taught to refer to this accent mark as the umlaut. You will almost always see this over a U. Sometimes you'll see it over different letters. And this basically makes the long U sound that we're oh so familiar with seeing in English, okay? Take this word, for example. This is how you say shame in Spanish. It would be okay? This word right here is pronounced vergüenza, vergüenza, vergüenza. Say it slowly, vergüenza, then combine them, vergüenza, vergüenza, vergüenza. Okay, that's how you say shame in Spanish. Okay, notice how the umlaut over the U makes it make a U sound, vergüenza. Okay, vergüenza. So be careful to say that slowly and say that repetitively just to make sure that you get comfortable with it, because that's very important to make sure that you're comfortable with each of these words. So now that you know all of that, now that you've hopefully written all of that down in your notebook, let's finish up with some practice words. Here I have a bunch of words in Spanish, and go ahead, you can pause the video now and practice pronouncing these, and then once you're done pausing the video, we're going to pronounce each of these together, and then I'm going to explain why you pronounce each of them the way you do. Okay, so go ahead and pause it now and start practicing. Okay, I assume that you've now unpaused the video and you're ready to move on. So this first word is pronounced instrucciones. Instrucciones. Why? First C hard, second C soft. Instrucciones. Okay, remember, because the O is there, say that O hard. Instrucciones. All right, instrucciones. Now this next word is pronounced, remember the J makes the H sound. Jalapeño. 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 Okay? It is called a jalapeno. It is not called a jalapeno or a jalapeno. Okay? It's pronounced jalapeno. Why? Because this nye makes the N plus Y sound. Jalapeno. Okay? Now, it's pretty easy to know instrucciones means instructions. It even sounds like it's an English word. Jalapeno is a type of pepper that you eat. How about this one? Invierno, invierno, invierno. Okay, you pronounce both vowels there. Invierno. Now, this is the Spanish way to say winter. Okay, it's talking about the season. How about this one? Fue. Fue. Remember, because when you have the U and the E next to each other, it makes the way sound. Fue. Fue. This is how you say I was, or, it's in the past tense. It's I was. Now, this one's pretty tricky. You have a U and an A. This was not among the list of exceptions. You don't combine these. You would say the U, then say the A. Guantes, 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 guantes. Okay? Put them together. Guantes, guantes. Okay? That's how you say gloves, like, what you wear in invierno, in the winter, right? Now let's move on. How do you say this word? Now this one's very important because remember, your H is always silent in the beginning of a Spanish word. This is not hablemos or hablamos, it is hablamos. Hablamos. Just act like that H isn't even there. Hablamos. Hablamos. How about, and hablamos is in the nosotros form, it's in the we form. It's from the verb hablar, which means to talk. So hablamos means we talk or we speak. How about this one? You probably had a little bit of trouble with this one, but remember, because you have no silent E at the end of your word, this would be dice, 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 okay? And this means he says or she says. It's from the verb decir, which means to talk. Now, how about this one? This one is clearly talking about a musical instrument. It even looks and sounds almost like the way you say it in English, okay? Remember, your G-U-I makes the G sound, and your double L makes the R sound. So and your A makes the A sound. So you put all those together, guitarra, 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 okay? That is how you say it. It's talking about a guitar, obviously, the instrument. Now this one is just like the dice example because it has an E in the end, but you're made to be aware that the E is not silent at the end of a Spanish word. So how do you say the A? A. How do you say the E? E. Nave, 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 okay? Like, it means ship in Spanish. Like, what the captain drives in the Navy. Nave, the ship. All right. So that about wraps it up for your pronunciation drills and for your letters. So again, remember, practice the alphabet, practice saying both Spanish vowels in a word, practice those exceptions, and remember, there are no silent E's at the end of the Spanish word. So find a bunch of Spanish words in your Spanish dictionary. It's helpful. Just practice sounding them out and make sure you're saying them right. And eventually you'll become more comfortable to say the words in the Spanish language. All right. Thank you very much and have a good practice. Aprendamos Español.